Sir, please, that's my daughter's medicine. No child needs that on a plane. The man snapped, voice sharp and certain, hand already snapping open the trash lid beside the boarding gate. You people exaggerate everything. The sound of the small amber bottle hitting the bottom of the bin was too soft for the disaster it carried. For a moment, the terminal fell quiet, just rolling suitcases, intercom crackle, recycled air hissing through unseen vents. The girl, 11 at most, clung to her backpack straps. Her name, printed in purple marker across the fabric, Maya Carter. She steadied herself, blinking fast. Her breathing shallow, a tremor in her fingers. Her father, Marcus Carter, 42, steady eyes, quiet voice that carried weight even when low, stepped forward. He hadn't raised his tone once. Not yet. Sir, he said again, calm but firm. That was prescription heart medication. We have a documented medical clearance to fly. The man, mid-50s, sun-leathered skin, expensive blazer, lifted his chin, unbothered. I don't care what you claim, he muttered, waving to the gate attendant. Could have been drugs. I'm keeping my family safe. Behind the counter, the attendant froze, glancing between them, between right and wrong, policy and convenience. People watched. Phones hovered but did not record. Not yet. Marcus inhaled once, slow, like someone reaching the end of patience and the beginning of decision. Maya, he said softly, sit. Breathe through your nose. She obeyed, but her breaths came thin and urgent. Her skin pale. Time folding tight. Marcus looked at the gate attendant again. I need that bottle returned. Now, she whispered. Sir, there's protocol once an item is disposed of. That wasn't disposal, Marcus said, voice unshaking. That was assault against a child's medical need. The white passenger scoffed. Go ahead. Complain. Nothing's happening. A pause. A heartbeat. Marcus reached into his jacket. Not frantic, not aggressive, just deliberate. He pulled out his phone, unlocked it with a press of his thumb. He made one call. A single number. Quick. Confident. He turned away from the man, voice still level as stone. This is Carter, he said into the phone. Activate emergency travel protocol. Immediate. Passenger safety breach. I want the system halted until retrieval is confirmed. The gate attendant's eyes widened. The passenger's face drained of certainty. A ripple went through the watching crowd, like distant thunder rolling closer, because no one knew who Marcus Carter really was. But in 60 seconds, every screen in the terminal would. Enjoying this? Tap subscribe for tomorrow's story. 2 minutes earlier, the airport had just been air conditioning hum, rolling luggage, and the faint smell of coffee. It was supposed to be a normal day. Dallas, Fort Worth International Airport. December 4th, 2025. Gate C27. Marcus had chosen the seats near the window so Maya could watch the planes. She loved that. Silver bodies moving slow, then fast, then gone. Like big metal birds, she always said. Daddy, that one's ours? Maya asked, pointing with a small, hopeful hand. Yep, Marcus said, checking the boarding pass on his phone. Flight 839. Dallas to Cleveland. Grandma's waiting. Maya smiled, but tiredly. There were faint shadows under her eyes. Her legs dangled above the floor, sneakers not quite touching the ground. She hugged her purple backpack close, the zipper jangling softly. From his side pocket, Marcus took out the small amber bottle. The label with her name. The white cap he always double-checked. Time for your dose, he said, keeping his tone light. Maya opened her mouth obediently, swallowed the pill with a sip of water from her reusable bottle, then wiped her lip. Still yucky, she said. Yucky keeps your heart steady, Marcus replied. I'll take yucky over sirens any day. She gave him a tiny, knowing look. They had done this dance before. Hospital rooms, monitors, beeping nights. She remembered enough. An overhead announcement crackled. Pre-boarding for passengers needing extra time. That's us, Marcus said. You feel okay? Yeah. Just nervous. He leaned in. You're the bravest person I know. They stood, Marcus slipping the medicine bottle back into the outer mesh pocket of Maya's backpack. Easy to reach. Always visible. He made sure of that. As they approached the boarding lane, the man in the blazer stepped ahead of them, tugging his rolling suitcase, the teenage boy trailing behind with earbuds in. The man's wife scrolled on her phone, designer purse at her elbow. Marcus didn't think twice about him. Not yet. The gate attendant, badge reading Emily, smiled mechanically. Pre-boarding, line to the left. We'll just do a quick visual check of carry-on items. No problem, Marcus said. He had done this before, too. Extra checks. Extra questions. He kept his answers calm and complete. He kept documentation ready. Medical clearance letters in the folder, he told Maya quietly. Just in case. He had everything, cardiologist note, emergency plan, list of medications printed and signed. Preparedness had become its own habit, like brushing teeth. The man in the blazer turned slightly, eyeing the backpack. Traveling with medication, he asked like it was his business. Marcus offered a polite nod. Yes, sir. Our daughter has a heart condition. All cleared. The man's mouth tightened. You're letting that on the plane? He asked Emily, voice lifting just enough to carry. You're really going to do that? Emily blinked. Sir, medications are permitted. Some of those pills are dangerous, he cut in. You see the news? People smuggle all kinds of things. Maya edged closer to her father, fingers twisting into his sleeve. Marcus kept his tone even. This bottle never leaves our sight. It's prescribed. You're welcome to read the label. The man stepped closer to Maya's backpack before anyone could react. His hand moved fast, practiced, like he'd done this sort of thing, taking things many times before. Hey, Marcus started. The man plucked the bottle from the mesh pocket, turning it in his fingers with a look of distaste, as if it were something unclean. Sir, please, Marcus said, tension creeping into his voice. That is my daughter's medication. Give it back. The man's gaze flicked briefly to Marcus's face, then to his own family, then to Emily. Nobody knows what this really is, he said. I'm not taking chances. The nearest trash bin stood less than 3 steps away. Marcus's heart pounded once hard. In that instant, between the man's decision and the bottle's fate, a lifetime of careful planning balanced on a thin edge. Maya's fingers tightened around her father's arm, and then the man turned toward the bin. The bottle fell. A small clink. Plastic on metal. Too light a sound for something that held Maya's next hour of safety. Maya's breath hitched, quick, shallow, like wind through dry leaves. Marcus crouched to her level, one arm steady around her shoulders. You're okay, he murmured. Look at me. In through the nose. She tried. A thin inhale. Her forehead shimmered with sweat. Emily, the gate attendant, looked stricken. Sir, you can't. He can't. Her words tangled, pulled by fear of authority, procedure, consequences. The man stood straighter, victorious in his assumption. I did what any sensible person would do. You're welcome. Marcus rose slowly. Not aggressive. Controlled. Years of discipline woven into every movement. I need that bottle retrieved, he told Emily. Her voice trembled. Once it's in the trash, we aren't allowed to. Allowed or willing? Marcus asked quietly, a question that left no comfortable exit. Passengers watched now. Heads turned. Conversations fell away. Maya's hand found his. Smallfold. Daddy, she whispered, I feel weird. That single sentence sliced deeper than any insult could. Her medication schedule allowed a narrow margin. 1 dose late and her heart could misfire, rhythm slipping into danger. He could already see the early signs. Pale lips, shaky knees, breath like a candle in wind. Marcus assessed quickly, trash access delayed, backup meds and checked luggage useless, nearest pharmacy outside security, reclearance could take an hour or more. Too long. His jaw set. He opened his phone. The contacts list wasn't for show. His career wasn't something he ever advertised, because he hadn't needed to. Until now. He tapped one name. The line connected fast, like someone waiting. Carter, Marcus said. Emergency protocol. Dallas terminal. Child medication seized by passenger. Safety compromised. A pause. Crisp, professional acknowledgement. Maya's dose window is 30 minutes, Marcus continued. Trigger containment protocol. Halt boarding system-wide if necessary. Emily's breath caught. The man in the blazer scoffed. You're bluffing. Nobody shuts down an airline system over a pill bottle. Marcus didn't look at him. He watched Maya. Her knees buckled for half a second. He caught her, held her steady. "I'm dizzy," she whispered, eyes glossy. Marcus pressed the phone closer. "Yes," he said into it. "Initiate." Across gate C-27, screens flickered. Just a moment. Then the boarding display froze, bright blue, unmoving. The intercom paused mid-announcement. A faint chime pinged overhead, repeating every 10 seconds. Something in the airport's rhythm shifted, like a heartbeat skipping. Passengers murmured. "What's happening?" "System glitch." Emily stared at her monitor, hands hovering. "I think the system just locked. We can't board anyone." The man in the blazer lost color. His confidence drained the way Maya's strength was draining now, quietly, dangerously. Marcus ended the call. One clean tap. He knelt again beside Maya, brushing her hair back from her damp forehead. "I've got you," he said. His voice was calm, but his eyes were fire. He stood, facing the man, not with rage, but with consequence. "You threw away a lifeline," Marcus said. "Now the entire system will grind until you undo that mistake." The man swallowed, realizing this was no ordinary parent. Emily whispered, "Sir, who are you?" Marcus didn't answer. Not yet. Because this was only the beginning, the airport felt different now. Still bright, still bustling, but tense, like a storm cloud drifting over a sunny field. Conversations hushed. Gate agents tapped keyboards that no longer obeyed. A ripple of unease spread through travelers who sensed something was wrong but didn't yet know how wrong. Maya leaned against her father's side, breath small and rapid. Marcus checked his watch. Every second counted. 27 minutes until the dose window closed. No backup. No margins. Emily stepped around the counter, voice low but urgent. "Marcus, I need to understand what's happening. Why would a single phone call freeze gate operations?" He didn't answer directly. Instead, he looked toward the trash bin where the bottle lay, an absurd resting place for something so vital. "We don't have time for policy debates," Marcus said evenly. "I need that bottle returned." Emily hesitated. Procedure versus humanity. A choice far larger than her job description. Meanwhile, the man in the blazer paced, jaw clenched. His family watched nervously, unsure whether to move or defend him. He snapped, "This is insane. Planes can't just stop because this guy got dramatic." Marcus turned his head slightly. "You made a decision that endangered a child. The consequences are no longer optional." Nearby, a younger agent in a navy vest approached Emily. "Systems are locked across multiple gates," he said, voice shaky. "They're trying to reboot, but Central Command flagged it as emergency override." Emily blinked. "Override? That's above airport operations." Marcus studied Maya closely. Shakiness, sweat at her temples, tiny tremors in her fingers. Early cardiac stress. He needed that bottle within minutes, not stories. A middle-aged woman stepped forward from the onlookers, polite but firm. "I saw what happened." He took that bottle. Threw it out. "That little girl is sick." Others nodded. One man said, "If that medicine's important, let them get it." Momentum was shifting. Witnesses mattered. Maya tugged Marcus's sleeve. "Daddy, my chest feels tight." He knelt, voice gentle. "Stay with me." Slow breaths. "I'm right here." The blazer man's voice rose again, brittle now. "You people think you can make a scene and the whole country stops for you?" Marcus stood fully. "I didn't ask for special treatment. I asked for decency." Emily finally exhaled, a decision forming in her eyes. She motioned to the junior agent. "Get gloves." "I'm retrieving the bottle." The man in the blazer lunged in front of her. "You can't just dig through a trash can." Emily's voice sharpened with new resolve. "I'm choosing a child's safety over your comfort." Applause from a few passengers, quiet, but enough. The blazer man bristled. "You'll lose your job over this." Emily's hand trembled, but she didn't move aside. Marcus reached for his phone again, slow, deliberate. This time the blazer man stepped back, as if the device itself held authority. People exchanged glances. Who was he? Closely watching, Maya took another shaky breath. Her heart fluttered beneath fragile skin. Marcus checked his watch again. 20 minutes left. The intercom crackled, a voice from airport command. Attention, all boarding suspended pending medical safety clearance. Passengers gasped. Even Emily looked startled. Marcus didn't show relief, only focus. They were entering the threshold where decisions carry weight measured in heartbeats. And everyone at gate C27 could feel it. Emily slipped behind the counter and returned with latex gloves and a long pair of tongs normally used for lost IDs or jewelry that fell behind the podium. Every eye followed her as she approached the trash bin. The blazer man stepped forward again, fist half-clenched, voice cracking under pressure. You touch that trash, you violate protocol. That's biohazard containment. You think corporate won't fire you? Emily paused, but just for a breath. Marcus spoke quietly, so calm that it cut through the room. If a rule denies humanity, it is a broken rule. And broken rules are meant to be rewritten, not louder, just truer. The watching crowd shifted, murmurs replacing silence. Someone recorded now, a mother with a toddler balanced on her hip. Another man raised his phone too. Emily noticed. That mattered. Visibility often reshaped courage. She inhaled and reached toward the bin. The blazer man snapped, louder this time. You're going to regret this. Before Emily could lower the tongs, a new voice sliced through the tension. Step back, sir. A uniformed airport sergeant approached, broad-shouldered, calm eyes, name badge reading Sergeant Richard Hale. He positioned himself between Emily and the blazer man. This is now a medical recovery operation, Hale said. I've received instruction from higher command. The blazer man stuttered. Higher than you? Hale glanced toward Marcus. Only a brief flicker, but enough for suspicion to grow like thunder on the horizon. Marcus knelt by Maya again. Her skin was damp, her heartbeat visible in her throat. He checked his watch. 16 minutes. Emily finally lowered the tongs into the bin, slow, careful, searching. She lifted one crumpled cup, a wad of napkins, a gum wrapper. No bottle. Her breath hitched. She dug deeper. Still nothing. Marcus exhaled once, controlled, but his eyes went sharp with alarm. The blazer man spoke too quickly. It must have been taken out with the last trash run. Emily's face paled. Trash runs happen every 30 minutes. Marcus's voice was barely above a whisper. When was the last one? Hale radioed dispatch. A crackle, then a reply. Pickup occurred 4 minutes ago at Zero. 4 minutes. The bottle was no longer on site. It was somewhere in the processing tunnel, moving toward industrial compaction and disposal. A needle in steel teeth. Witnesses gasped. Maya swayed. Marcus steadied her, pulse hammering beneath his fingers. He checked his watch again. 15 minutes left. Emily's voice was thin. I'm so sorry. We didn't. This isn't your failure, Marcus said gently. But we must work fast. Hale met Marcus's eyes, recognizing urgency stripped of ego. What do you need? Marcus hesitated for the first time. Revealing power carried risk. Attention, misunderstanding, headlines. But Maya's life was a scale where privacy weighed nothing besides survival. He stood slowly. My daughter's medication is entering waste compression. We need access to the disposal line. Now. Hale nodded. I'll radio authorization. Marcus shook his head. No. Authorization will be denied. We need escalated override. Hale frowned. Only Federal Aviation Command can enact that. Marcus held his gaze. That's exactly who I work for. A ripple moved through the crowd. Not applause, not shock, but dawning comprehension. Marcus Carter wasn't just a father. He was the person who could stop planes mid-air if lives were at stake. And he already had. Silence held for one breath, then two. Sergeant Hale straightened, the weight of Marcus's words settling like a dropped anchor. You're saying you're with Federal Aviation Command, he said slowly, not disbelief, verification. Marcus nodded once. Senior Systems Oversight. Emergency Protocol Liaison. He rarely said it aloud. Most never needed to know. Emily swallowed. So, you really did freeze the terminals. Only long enough to save one life, Marcus replied. My daughter's. Hale pressed his radio. Dispatch, confirmed federal ID clearance from Marcus Carter. Static, then urgency. Confirmed. Code Gold clearance. Stand by for higher directive. The crowd reacted, some stunned, some relieved, some ashamed they had not stepped in sooner. The Blazer man's confidence drained completely, leaving only fear behind. His wife whispered, trembling, "What have you done, Tom?" Tom, his name revealed at last, looked like a man realizing the gravity of his own carelessness. His face reddened, jaw slack, but still he muttered, grasping at what little control remained. "I thought I was protecting people." "You can't blame me for caution." Marcus's answer held no cruelty, only truth. Caution becomes cruelty when you stop seeing the human being in front of you. Hale stepped closer to Marcus. "We can track the disposal route. Conveyor runs under Gate C toward the compactor bay. If we move now." Marcus shook his head gently. "I can't leave Maya. Her heart could dip any moment. I need a medical hold, and I need that bottle retrieved." Hale nodded firmly. "Then I'll go." But Marcus raised a hand, not stopping him, refining the plan. "Not alone. You'll need access clearance at every checkpoint. Waste tunnels are 3 security layers deep." Hale exhaled. "Then who can open them?" Marcus unlocked his phone again. His hand did not shake. He tapped a secure contact labeled simply, "Op Center, Direct Line." A voice answered instantly. Calm, authoritative. "Carter." Status. Marcus kept his gaze on Maya. Critical window, 14 minutes. Medication in waste stream. Request compactor freeze and access corridor unlock. Approved, the voice replied. Sending authorization to Dallas operations. It was immediate, too immediate for a man with no power. Tom stared, horror dawning. "You shut down entire airline operations because of her?" Marcus turned toward him, tired, determined, utterly resolute. "I would shut down the world to save my child." Screens across the terminal blinked again, this time not frozen, but overwritten. System override. Medical priority. Hold red letters. Unmistakable. A gasp rippled through the room. Hale's radio crackled. All access points unlocked. Compactor halted. Proceed to bay for retrieval. Hale didn't waste a second. "Emily, stay with them. I'll bring the bottle back." Emily nodded, pale but determined. Hale sprinted toward the service corridor, disappearing through a staff-only door that slid open at his approach. 12 minutes remained. Marcus knelt beside Maya, brushing her hair from sweat-damp skin. Her pulse fluttered beneath his fingertips like a trapped bird. "You're doing so well," he whispered. She managed a faint smile. "Daddy, will the medicine come back?" "Yes," he said. "Not hope. Promise." Because people who do the right thing are running toward it now. Behind them, Tom stood rigid, fear, guilt, and realization warring across his face. For the first time, he looked small. And the twist was only beginning. Minutes stretched like wire pulled too tight. Emily knelt beside Maya, holding a cool bottled water to her lips. Marcus watched his daughter's breathing, uneven now, shallow inhales, long fragile exhales. Her fingertips looked pale. Every second measured. Every heartbeat precious. 9 minutes left. A crowd had formed in a respectful half-circle around them, not gawking, but bearing witness. People who once hurried toward vacation now stood anchored by a child's fight for breath. Tom the Blazer man hovered at the edge. No authority left, only guilt. His hands shook. His teenage son removed his earbuds, face pale as he finally took in what his father had done. "Dad," the boy whispered, voice cracking. "You threw away her medicine." Tom flinched, like the truth itself struck him. He stepped forward, tentative. "I never meant harm. I thought." Marcus did not look at him. His entire world was a pulse beneath Maya's skin. 8 minutes. Then the sound. Footsteps. Fast. Hard. Echoing from the service corridor. Sergeant Hale emerged, vest damp with sweat, gloves smeared with whatever the disposal tunnel held. And in his hand, high above the crowd so all could see, was the amber medicine bottle. Yes. Relief breaking like rain on drought. But Marcus didn't move, not yet. Unopened, he asked, voice steady. Hale nodded. Miracle it wasn't crushed yet. And I made sure it didn't become one. The crowd exhaled as if they had held their collective breath. Maya tried to sit up, heart struggling against time. Marcus took the bottle like something sacred, twisting the cap with trembling control, never frantic. He placed one small pill in Maya's palm, pressed a cup of water to her lips. She swallowed. A moment. Quiet wait. Then Maya's breathing deepened, slow at first, then steadier. Color returned to her cheeks like dawn spreading across sky. Marcus closed his eyes briefly, relief washing through him, soft but overwhelming. Not triumph, just gratitude. Emily stepped back, tears in her eyes. You saved her. Marcus shook his head gently. No. Hale did. And you did. And every witness who spoke. Systems matter, but people make them work. The twist wasn't power alone. It was how he used it. Then something unexpected happened. Tom stepped forward, shoulders slumped, not defiant, but broken open by consequence. I was wrong, he said quietly, voice rough. I judged without understanding. I stole safety because of fear, and I nearly took a child's life. His wife placed a hand on his back. His son stared at the floor. Tom continued louder, so passengers, staff, cameras, and conscience could hear. I want to make this right. However I can. Marcus finally met his eyes. This isn't about punishment, he said softly. It's about responsibility. Tom swallowed. Then tell me what to do. Marcus looked around, at employees bound by policy, at travelers whose eyes shone with empathy, at Maya breathing easier by the second, and at the system he himself helped build. You will speak to the review board, Marcus said. You will help design better protection policies for medical passengers. You will ensure no family faces this again. Tom nodded slowly, acceptance replacing fear. I will. I promise. And for the first time, Marcus believed him. But fallout was still coming. Nothing this large ripples quietly. Hale guided Marcus, Maya, and Emily to a quieter waiting area near the emergency medical alcove, a simple room with vinyl chairs, soft lighting, and a humming air purifier. Maya rested on a reclined seat, eyes half closed but stable now, pulse steadier beneath her skin. A medical technician checked her vitals gently, murmuring reassurance. Outside the glass wall, passengers lingered, some silent, some offering nods of respect. Not the kind of applause for spectacle, but the quiet acknowledgement reserved for battles fought with dignity. Marcus sat beside his daughter, thumb brushing the back of her hand. Every breath she took felt like grace returned. Hale entered with a clipboard and careful words. Command is requesting a formal statement. They'll reopen terminals once documentation is complete. Marcus nodded. I'll cooperate fully. Tom and his family enter a moment later. No security escort, no forced march. Just a man walking into accountability. Tom removed his blazer as if shedding armor. I gave my report, he said quietly. No excuses. I told them everything. Emily, standing near the wall, exhaled with relief. Tom continued, voice steadier now. I asked to participate in the corrective review, to help fix what nearly happened here. Marcus studied him, not with anger, but with measured discernment. You understand what that means? Marcus asked. Tom swallowed. It means acknowledging I acted out of bias. I let fear speak louder than facts, and I won't let that define me. Silence stretched, clean, honest, necessary. Emily stepped forward, adding gently, You also need to apologize to Maya. Tom nodded, eyes softening as he turned to the little girl. He knelt, hands open, not reaching, not imposing. Maya, I'm sorry. I didn't give you respect or safety. And you deserved both. Maya considered him, quiet but clear-eyed. She nodded once. I just needed my medicine. Her words cut through everything. Simple, human, undeniable. Tom blinked back tears. His teenage son stepped forward too, voice trembling. We're really sorry. My dad wants to do better. And so do I. Marcus placed a hand on Maya's shoulder. And you will. Through action, not apology alone. Hale returned with updated instructions. The airline board is convening remotely within the hour. They want you, Marcus, to brief them on medical oversight failure. They also request Emily and Tom present short statements. Emily's eyes widened. Me? Speak to them. Yes, Marcus said. Because you showed courage when policy faltered. Emily nodded slowly, pride rising through uncertainty. Tom asked quietly, What happens to us? Marcus replied with measured conviction. That decision isn't mine alone, but reform begins when people take responsibility. You stepping forward is part of that. Outside the room, screens across the terminal shifted gradually back to operational mode, flights resuming, order rebuilding from pause. But no one moved without watching the room where consequences now lived. Maya squeezed her father's hand. You didn't let me fall. He kissed her forehead. You stood with me. That's strength. The technician stepped away with a satisfied nod. Vitals stabilizing. She's past the immediate danger. Relief washed through Marcus like warm light. But the board meeting awaited, the moment where this incident could become more than a story. It could become change. Marcus rose, squared his shoulders, and looked to Hale. Let's make sure this never happens again. A conference room beside terminal security wasn't built for history, just briefings and coffee. Yet on this day, it held something far weightier. Fluorescent lights hummed softly. A large screen showed the faces of board members joining via secure feed. Their expressions were solemn, attentive. Marcus stood at the head of the table, Maya resting comfortably in a chair beside him, a blanket over her legs. Emily and Tom sat opposite, one nervous but resolute, the other humbled and attentive. The chairwoman's voice emerged through the speaker. Mr. Carter, we've reviewed the incident. Please outline the failures and your recommended reforms. Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. First, he said, a policy that prevents retrieval of life-saving medication, even moments after disposal, must change. Second, staff must be empowered to override procedure when human safety requires it. Third, training must address implicit bias and medical accommodation as standard practice, not exception. He paused, letting silence underline purpose. Maya's life hung in minutes. There should never be a moment where a child's heartbeat depends on luck. Heads nodded on screen. No dissent. Thank you, the chairwoman said. Now, statements from staff and passenger witnesses. Emily rose, small voice at first, but steadying with each word. I followed protocol until it hurt someone. Next time, I will follow humanity first, and I will train others to do the same. Marcus gave her a grateful nod. Then Tom stood, not defensive, not proud, just human. I took something precious because I saw a difference instead of danger. He glanced lightly at Maya. I will spend time learning, listening, and speaking to others who might act as I did. Fear cannot lead policy. The board conferred in a brief, muted exchange. Then, we accept the recommendations. A new medical protection directive will be built with Mr. Carter as lead advisor. Emily and Thomas will join the review team. Tom exhaled shakily. Emily covered her mouth, overwhelmed. Marcus placed a hand gently on Maya's shoulder. This was accountability, not revenge. Change, not punishment. Hale entered then, offering paperwork and a slow smile. You did something rare, Marcus. You turned crisis into reform. Marcus looked to Maya, alive, stronger by the hour. No, we did. Later, in the terminal, flights resumed. Passengers dispersed. Some approached with quiet words. You saved her. You changed systems today. Thank you. Marcus never basked, only nodded, grateful for breath and second chances. As they walked toward their gate once more, Maya's fingers wrapped around his. Daddy. Yes, baby. Do you think that man will really help other kids? Marcus looked back at Tom, signing documents, face earnest with new understanding. I think he already has, Marcus said softly. Boarding resumed. This time, no hurry. Just clarity. Maya walked onto the plane beside him, stable, safe, whole, with future now guarded by more than medicine. It was guarded by change. 3 months later, Cleveland, Ohio. Snow rested quiet on rooftops, like soft memory. The Carter home glowed with warm lamplight, the kind that makes winter feel gentle. Inside, Maya sat at the kitchen table, drawing airplanes with bright crayons. No shaking hands now. No shallow breaths. Just color, laughter, and steady pulse. Marcus stood at the counter stirring cocoa, steam rising fragrantly. A framed letter hung nearby, printed in blue and silver seal. Medical Passenger Protection Policy approved and implemented nationwide. Underneath, 3 signatures, Marcus Carter, Emily Dawson, and Thomas Reynolds. Different hands, same commitment. The reform had spread farther than headlines. Gate attendants across the country receive new training on compassion-led safety. Bright posters in terminals now read medical needs first. Every second matters. Emergency retrieval teams were formed. Thousands of travelers who once feared rejection now carried assurance instead. Marcus didn't seek praise. He simply wanted no parent to face what he had. Not again. Not ever. He carried 2 mugs of cocoa to the table. Extra marshmallows? Maya asked hopefully. Of course, Marcus smiled, placing a cup in front of her. She sipped, humming approval. Her cheeks were rosy, sweater sleeves too long, the picture of childhood saved and growing. She reached into her pocket, lifting something small, the amber medicine bottle. Clean, relabeled, never again left unwatched. She held it like a talisman of survival. We kept it, she said softly, because we remember. Marcus nodded. Because we honor what we endured. Not with fear, but with purpose. A knock came at the door. Marcus opened it to find Tom standing on the porch, shoulders relaxed, eyes clearer than the day they met. Snowflakes clung to his coat. He carried a binder filled with new training proposals, charts, feedback forms. Behind him stood his teenage son, carrying a tray of cookies shaped like tiny airplanes. Tom offered a humble smile. We're on our way to the regional training center. Thought we'd stop by, just to say thank you, and to show we're still trying. Marcus stepped back, welcoming them in with no hesitance. Inside, warmth erased old distance. Maya waved, and Tom waved back, not awkwardly, but gently, with respect learned in hardship. They sat together, not victim and offender, but partners in forward change. Marcus glanced at the amber bottle on the table. It no longer represented risk. It stood for reform, accountability, and second chances made real. Outside, snow kept falling, soft, clean, renewing. Inside, for people shared cocoa, cookies, and the quiet certainty that the world can bend toward justice when ordinary people choose courage. Not dramatic, just human. Not grand, just enough. And sometimes, enough saves everything. Andy, thanks for watching.